I'm gonna get heat for this, but I'm just gonna be honest. If she's saying that she goes to a lot of festivals, she likes partying a lot, very left wing in terms of politically. If she says she's a feminist, body positive,
then she's got a number.
Well, it kind of points towards that she's quite liberal sexually.
Yeah. That's what comes into dating. A lot of the thing is safety for women. So like
really?
So we think, so for example, if I'm going on a first date,
yeah,
I'm automatically, it's where are we going?
Yeah.
Where's the venue? Where's the place? Is it somewhere I know? If it's somewhere I don't know, like you automatically feel a bit unsafe. You go to like a random, I don't know, pub in this, wherever it is. I'm trying to think of somewhere.
Yeah.
East London, somewhere. And then it's getting there, you get there, and then little things. So, I mean, I've even had it where a guy was saying, oh, I'm going to take you for dinner. And then I was like, oh, where exactly are we going for dinner? He's like, oh, well, let's meet at the tube station. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he said, oh, and then as I was on the tube, he was like, I'm going to pick you up from the tube station. I was terrified. I was like,
terrified of him picking you up.
I thought, am I going to die? I've not met the guy before.
Oh, I see.
So I was thinking, this is how I die. I'm messaging all my friends. He's not told me where we're going. He's telling me to get into his car. So this is how we feel and think, because you don't know the person.
That does make sense. I've heard girls saying they love it when a guy comes and picks them up.
But that it's a lovely gesture, and I would love it maybe a couple dates after.
Yeah,
the first date, never.
I agree that I think for women, they should meet at the venue.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I was messaging all my friends. I was voice noting. I was like sending my location. Guys, I think this is it. This is how I go. And then it's just, he had a really nice car, and I think he just wanted to pick me up in a nice car. But I'd even said to him, I messaged him, I was like, can we just meet at the restaurant? Let me know what the restaurant is. And he was like, oh, no, it's like, it will be far. So like, I might as well pick you up. And little did he realize I was terrified that whole time. Got in the car, terrified the whole time in the car. Then we actually got to the restaurant and I was like, oh, I'm going to live. I'm going to be okay.
I get that. So here's my question to you. In that situation, why didn't you just say to him, I really appreciate the gesture, but I'd feel more comfortable meeting you there?
I should have. Yes, right. I should have. But I didn't.
Okay.
I did
well,
not.
You're alive today, so it's fine.
I'm alive. I've been through many situations like that I'm like, and then afterwards it's fine.
Yeah. The reason I say that is because I think it's really important. So while I think it's nice for a guy to consider your safety and you feeling comfortable, ultimately the person actually responsible for that is you.
True. I agree. But I guess what I'm saying is,
so you should be able to speak up for yourself.
Yes,
in that
you
scenario.
should. But I think that there should be a view that you're both strangers, and that should be something that I think guys and girls, whatever, should be thinking about on dates. As how do I make someone else feel safe? I think that's also important, because I think you should. Yes, you should say, I think the difficulty is as well for a girl is you've not met someone and you're trying to make a good first impression. If you automatically go, I'm worried you're going to kill me vibe.
But you don't say it like that though.
But even if you're like, look, can we, I would feel more comfortable meeting straight at the restaurant. You're starting off on a bit of a negative foot. Do you know what I mean? So
I don't think so.
But yeah, I guess. But I think from a girl's standpoint, you're thinking, oh no, I've given a signal that I feel like they're a murderer, so you don't really want to.
Well, I mean, like if you're really saying that, okay, you're genuinely worried about your safety, surely, just even if for example you think that, okay, you kind of saying, hey, I'd feel more comfortable meeting you there, but I really appreciate the gesture. Even if you think that might put a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth, that's way better than you, if in your head, risking
being
your life. That's
fearful.
Way better than like just a little bit of a bad taste in, the guy's mouth for the sake of your own safety. I think that's way better.
No, I completely agree. But I think that's the issue, is that a lot of girls will be like, oh, I don't want to seem mean. I don't want to seem whatever. So there's that fear that you've got in dating. But I agree. I think I 100% agree. I think there's something that both parties should be aware of, and girls should express how they're feeling a bit to then, because also then that means that they're going to have a more enjoyable date.
100%. Yeah. I think the reason I say that is because I think we have to be careful to go, okay, well, it's your job to make me feel okay, and it's not.
No, it's both parties' jobs.
But I think I remember seeing this phrase. I remember seeing this phrase, and it's like, everybody thinks, okay, if you look after me and I look after you, then we're fine. But it's actually, let me look after me for you.
Yeah.
And you look after you for me.
It's like the whole like filling your cup. Don't fill someone else's cup up.
Yeah.
There is an expression, isn't there?
What is it?
The overflow. And then Harry Styles did that thing about the overflow.
Oh, I don't know.
Let someone fall in love with the overflow. I don't know.
Well, the overflow. I get you. I think it's gentlemanly if he does consider it, but I think as a woman, especially as an adult, like being able to communicate thing, like maybe a boundary.
Setting boundaries. I was going to say,
right?
yeah, you should.
That's actually really important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think I would encourage every woman to do that, even if she thinks it's going to leave a sour taste in his mouth or not. Because at the end of the day, if you saying to a guy that you've never met, right, going, hey, I really appreciate the gesture, but I'd prefer to just meet you there, and he kicks off, that already tells you something about him.
Yeah.
Because the guy who's generally just a good guy, he's just like, yeah, sure, no problem, I'll meet you there.
Exactly. No, exactly. But yeah, because I'd had it recently when I went on a date and had the same thing where he was like, look, I'll drop you home afterwards. And I was like, that's really sweet, but I would feel more comfortable if I just go home.
Yeah, 100%.
And he was like, okay, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, brilliant.
Easy. What do you think is something that guys think about when they go on dates?
Guys think about, this is a good question. In terms of like, in general, just like what's happening on the date.
Yeah, so how you told the girls what guys like.
So I actually saw this, but that's the thing, is I saw this thing on TikTok where it's got, is it Wolf of Wall Street with Margot Robbie
and Leonardo?
There's like this meme of them when she's out there outside her flat or something, and it was saying like on a first date what guys are thinking, and it was like, what perfume is she wearing? What girls are thinking, is he going to kill me? Like, and I was like, that is so wild, the comparison. But that's maybe that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I think a guy will just be thinking on the date is she enjoying herself? I feel like when I've been on dates and looking at some of the like research and stuff, is they're just wanting to, one, make a good first impression.
Yeah.
But two, is she having a good time?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say, does she like me? Mm-hmm. Is she interested? Mm-hmm. Because I think generally speaking, a lot of the time when a guy goes on a first date, usually he's already kind of interested because he finds her attractive. But the thing is, as a woman, even if you find a guy attractive, that doesn't mean you'll necessarily be interested if he's not the kind of guy. Yeah, completely. Do you know what I mean? Character-wise. So I think a lot of guys are trying to, see if she's having a good time, but also, is she actually interested in me? And I'll probably say over the first several days, he's just thinking, what guys are mitigating for is she using me?
Really?
Yeah.
Using in what way?
For like time, attention, going out.
But why would they?
Well, because you've never heard of like girls. Well, because I mean, 9 times out of 10, a guy's going to pay. Mm-hmm. So she might just want a free meal.
But why would you do that?
Do you know a lot of girls do that? A lot of girls do that. What I should say is a lot of guys have experience of that happening.
But you can go to free dinners in Marlow, like Mayfair or whatever. As a girl,
can you go what do you mean? How can you go for free dinners?
You go for free comp dinners.
How do you get free comp dinners?
What? Have you not heard of this?
No. How do you do that?
There's all these free comp dinners, so you can go. This is like an advert for it. I'm not
yeah,
even trying to advertise
you're like sponsoring this company.
No, you just have to go as a girl. There's like so many different, like really nice. What's it called? Somerson Twigger. Do you know that?
No.
That or like Monkey House.
Oh, I've heard of Monkey House.
Yeah, there's all the top like I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, like fancy dining places that if you as a girl you go, you get your whole meal for free and you just have to take stories. You don't even need like a big following. You just have to put stories of the place.
Okay, so that's like a influencer collaboration thing.
It's not influencer.
Oh,
you give me whatever.
Why would you have to take stories then?
Well, they just want people to show that you're at that place.
That's what I mean. So that's like you're just posting to your audience. However big or small it is.
So you'd just be posting and you can just be sat just it shows that there's like girls at the place to get guys to go.
Yeah, but it's not just the dinners, it's also the attention. A guy maybe buying drink, because I'm guessing like, do you get a bottle of wine with that or no?
With what, sorry?
With the free comps.
You get free main, dessert, drinks all night. You just then
You
have
get
to
drinks all night.
You get drinks. You just have to then go to a club afterwards. A lot of the time is the deal. You just have to then head on somewhere.
Okay. So like a lot of girls do use guys for their time, money, and attention.
I just find that wild because I don't know, like, I don't know a lot of girls that would.
So what I mean is this. It could be that she's like, she kind of sus that she, may or may not like him. But because he suggests like a nice place, she'll go.
Oh, see, I wouldn't.
Okay, but a lot of guys have a lot of experience where girls do. And when I've asked, like every girl I've asked, have you ever been on a date with a guy where you kind of knew that he wasn't the one, but you just wanted to go out?
No.
Almost all of them have said yes.
No. I think, but that's again how you weed out people. So that's because, again, but like if you actually want a girl that's serious and that wants to actually date you, then you go and do things where you're gonna build a connection.
Sure.
So you go and play mini golf. And then the thing is, if you offer up options like that or different things, right, whatever, you're more likely then to find, like you said, weed out those girls that just want the free dinner.
Yeah, but then let's say he suggests an activity that she wants to do and he pays for it. She's still benefiting from that.
But if you're she is, but then you're still like connecting over something. I'm talking about like the girls that you're talking about just want to go to a fancy place to get a nice pic. Well, they're probably not going to get a nice pic in mini golf.
No, not necessarily like a nice picture, but I'm just saying, because the thing is, it's so, because girls have guy friends, right, who they know are into them, right? But getting attention is nice, right? And someone taking interest in you is nice.
I disagree.
I would have thought differently, but it's a thing.
So for me, it's like if I'm going on a date with a guy, firstly, it's the expectation isn't that they always should pay. Say I'm going on a date with a guy.
Yeah, most girls want a guy to pay.
Most girls
like
want
if
a guy
he doesn't,
to pay.
it's like a thing.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
True. But I think the difference is like, especially if there's the expectation that it's something romantic, I would never want to just go for, a free meal or a free mini golf and just for the attention. Because if I don't like the guy,
I agree with you.
There's expectation that something happens and I'd be like,
yeah, but then I guess you don't have to do that, right? You don't have to do anything physical. You could be like, shy away from it or whatever, but I agree with you. But it's a thing.
But do you think, are you sure that it's a thing in the sense that girls are going on dates and then they're not sure that they like the person?
No, as in like I've heard a girl go, I literally went on a date, not because I liked a guy, because I was bored and I had nothing to do that night. And I was like, I could go out for a nice meal and have a guy like fawn over me, buy my drinks.
But maybe it's kind of like what you were saying, that's weeding out the not very nice people that you don't want to be in a relationship with.
No, I know, but we're talking about, so I would say what girls mitigate for is making sure that a guy is not using her for sex. Right?
Or dating?
Like when they're dating a guy, want to make sure that, okay, he's actually open to something serious. He's not just, he's not just wanting something casual.
Yes, yeah.
And what guys are mitigating for is that she's not just using him for time, money, and attention. So, which is why they look for genuine desire and genuine interest.
And how do you find that?
What do you mean?
What would you say if you were on a date, you would think, right, she's into me?
On the first date?
Yeah.
I wouldn't make a judgment for the first date, but...
Would you not?
The only way I would make a judgment on the first date is if something physical happened on the first date.
Would you feel like your date's gone badly if there was nothing like physical?
No, not necessarily. It depends why. So if it was like, okay, if she's come across in the kind of girl who moves at quite a slower pace, but we're laughing, we're having a good time.
What gives you that vibe?
That what?
That she's moving at a slower pace.
Oh, well, it might be maybe she's only been with a couple of people sexually, or she's only ever been with people like in a relationship.
How do you know that though? Because I was going to say, don't most girls lie about that?
They do, but
it's the whole like times it by 3.
Yeah, I know that's. No, yeah, they say that's a thing. Guys can kind of tell how a girl.
What?
They can kind of guesstimate how a girl is sexually. Historically.
Shut the front door and slam it twice. What?
Yeah, they can kind of guesstimate.
Really?
Yeah, if guys are, not saying I am, if guys are experienced, yes.
They'll know.
So like I'm just going to say it how it is. I'm just going to say it how it is.
Go for it.
There is different things. I would say lifestyle. I would say interests. And I would say political view.
Political view?
Yes. Yes.
If she's into Boris, what does that mean?
If she's into Boris? What I would say is this. Also, like, I would say, like, her family background. So, for example, if she, and this is a generalization, but I'm saying this is how guys guesstimate.
We've got loads of generalizations today. I love it.
We do. So, if she is, let's say she's conservative, comes from a middle class background, and let's say she was in a long-term relationship for like 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
And that only ended like a year ago. The chances are that she moves at a slower pace than the average girl.
But if she goes to an all-girls school, then that is not the case.
I'm not saying that's guaranteed.
No. I was just joking. Because honestly, I feel like, well, maybe I'm being generalizing here, but yeah, all-girls school, known for not being, well, yeah, stereotype as not being as great, as not being so, what's the phrase? Being a bit more promiscuous.
What, all girls? What, with other girls?
No, just as in just generally. Like
what is that? I didn't know that.
Well, that's just, well, I mean, that's just what I've heard. Like, I was at a girls' school.
Yeah.
And that was like the expression, well, it was different schools. So like one of the schools where I'm from was known for it. So it's like daddy's little girls are the ones that are then nightmares a bit when they're older because they were just around girls for.
I see.
Because they were up just to sixth form, just around girls.
I see.
So then as soon as they meet guys.
Move the mic closer to you, by the way. Oh, like, yeah, I was going to say you can move. There you go. Perfect. Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of like they'd been sheltered and then...
They've been let out the pen.
That makes sense. I understand that. That makes sense. I imagine...
Yeah.
I would say I imagine guys at boys' school the same, but guys are just like that in general.
Just general, yeah.
Now, yeah, like I said, that doesn't mean that she can't be wild, but I'm just saying guys guesstimate. And on the other side of the spectrum, you know, like if a girl is saying that, I'm going to get heat for this, but I'm just going to be honest. This is how guys do it, right? If a guy's like, okay, you know, she's saying that she goes to a lot of festivals, she likes, you know, partying a lot. If she is very like left wing in terms of politically, if she says she's a feminist, all of this stuff, right? She's very body positive, right? That usually indicates that
number. Then she's got a number.
Well, it might be that she has a number, but it kind of points towards that she's quite liberal sexually. Yeah,
liberal in her views. Yeah, I see what you mean now.
So it's just talking about the values that person has.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in regards to that can... Now, don't get me wrong, there are some girls who are very liberal and identify as feminist, but they are very slow sexually. And there might be some girls who are, you know, like conservative traditional values, but they're very promiscuous.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing